My name is Margaret Eleanor Hartwell, and I'm 68 years old. 3 months ago, my daughter told me I had no place in her life. So I did something that shocked everyone who knew me. I removed her from mine. Completely. And if you think that makes me a terrible mother, WELL. Hit that subscribe button and hear me out. Because this story might change everything you think you know about family, loyalty, and what we owe each other. Asterisk, asterisk, she adjusts her posture, a slight tremor in her voice. Asterisk, asterisk, I raised Catherine, my daughter, as a single mother from the time she was 6 years old. Her father, Robert, decided one Tuesday morning that fatherhood wasn't for him and walked out, leaving behind nothing but a note on the kitchen counter and a mortgage I couldn't afford. I was 32, working part-time at a dentist's office, with no degree and no real prospects. Asterisk, but you know what? Didn't crumble. I couldn't afford to. Asterisk, I went back to school at night, got my nursing degree, and worked double shifts at the hospital while Catherine stayed with Mrs. Patterson next door. I remember coming home at 2 in the morning, my feet swollen, my back aching, and checking on Catherine sleeping in her little bed. I'd whisper to her, "Mama's building us a better life, sweetheart. Just you wait." Her voice grows stronger, and I did build us a better life. I climbed the ranks at the hospital, became a head nurse, then a supervisor. I bought us a house in a good neighborhood with excellent schools. I made sure Catherine had piano lessons, ballet classes, summer camps, everything I never had growing up. I sacrificed my own social life, my own dreams, my own chance at love, all for her. Asterisk, when Catherine was 16, came to me crying because she'd been rejected by her first choice college. I held her all night, and the next morning I took out a second mortgage on our house to pay for private tutoring. She got into an even better school 6 months later. Asterisk, asterisk, Margaret's jaw tightened slightly. Asterisk, asterisk, college was expensive, more expensive than I'd anticipated. Between tuition, room and board, and her living expenses, I was stretched beyond thin. I was eating pasta and canned soup for dinner most nights, shopping at thrift stores, driving a 12-year-old car that broke down every other month. But Catherine, Catherine had everything she needed. I made sure of that. Asterisk, when she graduated, I was so proud. My daughter, the first in our family to get a college degree. She got a job at a marketing firm in the city, and I helped her with the security deposit for her apartment. A year later, she met David. A slight smile crosses her face. David seemed like a good man, steady job, kind eyes, from a respectable family. They dated for 3 years, and when he proposed, I was genuinely happy for her. The wedding. Well, that's where things started to unravel. Asterisk, Catherine wanted what she we said. When I said we said what she called a dream wedding. The venue alone cost more than I made in 6 months. The dress was designer, the flowers were imported, the photographer was some hotshot from New York. The bill kept climbing, and climbing and climbing. Her voice becomes more strained. I had already spent most of my retirement savings on her college education. I had very little left, but I couldn't bear to disappoint her. So I did what any mother would do. I sacrificed again. I cashed out my 401k, took the penalties, and paid for that wedding. Every last cent. Asterisk, the wedding was beautiful. Catherine looked radiant, and for one day, everything felt worth it. But something had changed in our relationship. After the wedding, Catherine became ... distant. Phone calls became shorter, visits became less frequent. When I'd ask about grandchildren, she'd brush me off. "We're focusing on our careers right now, Mom." She takes a deep breath. 2 years passed. I was working longer hours, trying to rebuild my retirement fund from nothing. My health started to decline. The stress, the long hours, the physical demands of nursing at my age. I developed arthritis in my hands, making my job increasingly difficult. I started talking to Catherine about maybe moving closer to her and David, not to be a burden, but just to be near family as I aged. Asterisk, that's when everything fell apart. Asterisk, asterisk, Margaret's Voice becomes ice cold asterisk asterisk 3 months ago. Catherine called me. Not to check on my health, not to plan a visit, but to tell me that she and David had bought a house. A beautiful house in an exclusive neighborhood. She was so excited, describing every detail: the marble countertops, hardwood floors, the 3-car garage. Asterisk, I was happy for her, of course. But then she said something that made my blood run cold. The best part is, it's in a gated community. Very private, very exclusive. David's parents are thinking of buying in the same neighborhood. Asterisk, what about me? I asked. Will I be able to visit easily? Her voice drops to almost a whisper. There was a long pause. Then Catherine said, Mom, I need to be honest with you. David and I have been talking, and we feel like, well, like you're too involved in our lives. We need space to build our own family without constantly worrying about your needs and your problems. I was stunned. My needs? Catherine, I've never asked you for anything. Asterisk, you're always calling, always wanting to visit. And frankly, Mom, David's family is concerned about the ... differences in our backgrounds. His parents are doctors, Mom. They have certain expectations. Margaret's hands clench. I felt like I'd been slapped. Differences in our backgrounds? Catherine, I worked 3 jobs to put you through college. I gave up everything for you. Asterisk, and I'm grateful for that, Mom. But that doesn't mean I owe you access to my life forever. David and I are starting fresh, and we need to focus on our future. His family understands success. They understand ambition. They can help us in ways that ... well, that you can't. Her voice breaks slightly. I was quiet for a long moment. Then I asked, what are you saying, Catherine? Asterisk, I'm saying that maybe it's time for some boundaries. Maybe we don't need to talk every week. Maybe holidays should be with David's family, since they're more compatible with the life we're building. Margaret straightens, her voice becoming stronger. I hung up the phone. I sat in my empty house, the house I'd mortgaged twice to, give her everything she wanted, and I realized something. I had spent 36 years of my life loving someone who saw me as an embarrassment, a burden, a reminder of a life she wanted to forget. Asterisk. But here's the thing about betrayal, it clarifies everything. In that moment, I saw our entire relationship with new eyes. The rushed phone calls, the canceled visits, the way she'd changed the subject when I talked about my work at the hospital, the way she'd never introduced me to her new friends, never invited me to work events, never seemed proud of the woman who'd sacrificed everything for her success. She looks directly at camera, so I made a decision that shocked everyone. I decided to take Catherine at her word. She said she wanted space. I'd give her space. She said she wanted boundaries. I'd give her boundaries. She said I had no place in her life. Fine. Then she would have no place in mine. Asterisk, I started by changing my will. Everything I had planned to leave to Catherine, my house, my savings, my life insurance, I redirected to charity. 2 organizations that help single mothers get their education, specifically. Then I called my lawyer and made sure Catherine would never have any claim on my estate. A slight smile plays at her lips next. I blocked her number, blocked her email, blocked her on every social media platform. I packed up every photo of her, every memento from her childhood, every gift she'd ever given me, and donated it all to Goodwill. I didn't want any reminders of the woman who'd looked me in the eye and told me I wasn't good enough for her new life. Asterisk, but I didn't stop there. Remember that gated community she was so excited about? Well, it turns out that communities like that are very interested in the financial backgrounds of their residents. I may not have a medical degree, but I know people. I know nurses, doctors, administrators. I know people who know people. Her voice becomes matter of fact. I made some calls, did some research. Turns out David's family business had some financial irregularities that certain people might find interesting. Nothing illegal, mind you, just ... irregularities. The kind that make mortgage companies nervous. the kind that make exclusive communities reconsider their approval processes. Asterisk, asterisk. She pauses, asterisk, asterisk. I also reached out to some of Catherine's college friends, the ones who remembered me fondly from their visits, who remembered the woman who'd fed them homemade cookies and let them stay over during finals week. I shared with them what Catherine had said about backgrounds and compatibility. Word spreads quickly in social circles, especially when it involves someone looking down on the mother who sacrificed everything for them. Asterisk, asterisk. Margaret's voice grows more confident, asterisk, asterisk, but the real masterstroke came when I decided to tell my story. I started a blog called The Forgotten Mother, where I shared not just my experience with Catherine, but the stories of other mothers who'd been discarded by the children they'd raised. The response was overwhelming. Hundreds of women reached out sharing their own stories of betrayal and abandonment. Asterisk. Asterisk, she leans forward slightly. Asterisk. Asterisk. The blog went viral, was picked up by major news outlets, shared thousands of times on social media. Suddenly, Catherine's story wasn't just between us anymore. It was a cautionary tale about ingratitude and sterely, and the price of forgetting where you came from. Her voice becomes more reflective within 6 weeks. Catherine started trying to contact me. She called from different numbers, sent emails from new addresses, even showed up at my house. But I was done. I'd learned something important. Respect is earned, not given. And love without respect is just martyrdom. Asterisk, the calls became more desperate. She'd been dropped by several friends. David's family was facing some professional difficulties, and the stress was taking its toll on their marriage. She wanted to work things out, to talk through our issues. Margaret shakes her head, but here's what Catherine didn't understand. There was nothing to work through. She'd shown me exactly who she was, and I'd finally believed her. She wasn't calling because she missed me or because she'd realized the value of our relationship. She was calling because consequences had arrived, and she needed her mother to fix things like I'd always done before. She takes a sip of tea. I want to be clear about something. I don't take pleasure in Catherine's struggles. I'm not a vindictive person by nature, but I learned something important about boundaries. They only work if you enforce them. For 36 years, I'd enabled Catherine's selfish behavior by absorbing the cost of it myself. By always being there, always forgiving, always sacrificing. Her voice becomes firmer when she finally managed to corner me at the grocery store last month. She was crying. "Mom, please," she said. "I made a mistake. I was wrong. I need my mother." Asterisk, I looked at her, this woman I'd raised, this stranger who'd rejected me, and I said, "No, Catherine. You were very clear about what you wanted. You wanted a life without your embarrassing mother in it. I'm giving you exactly what you asked for." Margaret's eyes well up slightly, but her voice remains steady. "But I love you." "Mom," she said. Asterisk. "No," I replied. "You love the idea of having a mother when it's convenient. You love having someone to fall back on when life gets difficult. But you don't love me. You don't respect me. You don't value me. And I'm too old to pretend otherwise." She wipes her eyes quickly. I walked away from her that day, and I haven't looked back. Because here's what I learned. It's never too late to choose yourself. It's never too late to demand respect. It's never too late to say enough. Margaret looks directly at camera. I know some of you are thinking, I'm harsh, that I should forgive and forget, that family is everything. But I want you to consider this. If Catherine had been a friend who treated me this way, would you tell me to keep trying? If she'd been a coworker who dismissed my worth and rejected my presence, would you tell me to keep showing up? Asterisk, asterisk. She pauses. For effect, asterisk, asterisk, the only reason we tolerate abuse from family is because we've been taught that blood creates an obligation. But blood doesn't create respect. Blood doesn't create love. And blood certainly doesn't create the right to treat someone as disposable. Asterisk, asterisk. Her voice becomes more passionate, asterisk, asterisk. I want to speak directly to the mothers watching this. The ones who've sacrificed everything for their children. The ones who've put their own dreams on hold, their own needs last, their own happiness aside. You matter. Your feelings matter. Your worth isn't determined by how much you can give or how much you can take. Asterisk, asterisk. She leans forward. Asterisk, asterisk. If your adult children treat you like a burden, they're embarrassed by your background, if they only call when they need something, that's not love, that's exploitation. And you don't have to accept it just because you're their mother. Asterisk, asterisk. Margaret sits back, asterisk, asterisk, since I've been telling this story. I've heard from thousands of women. Some are dealing with similar situations. Others are questioning relationships they'd accepted as normal. And some are finding the courage to set boundaries they never thought they could set. Asterisk, asterisk. She smiles slightly. Asterisk, asterisk. I've also received criticism. People who think I'm bitter, vengeful, unforgiving. They say things like, she'll regret this when you're gone, or you'll miss her when she's older. But here's the truth. I'm not bitter. I'm free. Free from the constant rejection, the constant disappointment. The constant hope that maybe this time she'll value me. Asterisk, asterisk. Her voice becomes more reflective. Asterisk, asterisk. I've started living for myself for the first time in decades. I've joined a book club, started taking art classes, even gone on a few dates with a lovely man named Frank who thinks I'm remarkable just as I am. I've discovered that there's a whole world of people who value loyalty, who appreciate sacrifice, who understand that strength isn't about what you can take, it's about what you choose not to take. Asterisk, asterisk. Margaret looks thoughtful. Asterisk, asterisk. The irony is that by removing Catherine from my life, I've probably taught her more about consequences than I ever did by constantly cushioning her from them. She's learning that actions have results, that relationships require respect, that you can't treat people poorly and expect them to keep coming back. She addresses the camera directly. Will we reconcile someday? I honestly don't know. If Catherine can learn to genuinely respect me, if she can acknowledge the hurt she caused and make real amends, maybe. But it would have to be a complete transformation of our relationship. She'd have to earn her way back into my life. Not just expect forgiveness because she decided she needs me again. Asterisk, asterisk. Her voice becomes stronger. Asterisk, asterisk. But even if we never speak again, I'm at peace with my decision because I've learned something invaluable. Self-respect isn't selfish. Setting boundaries isn't cruel. And choosing yourself isn't wrong, especially when everyone tells you it is. Margaret stands up, smoothing her skirt. I want to end with something I wish I'd understood decades ago. We teach people how to treat us by what we accept. For 36 years, I accepted being taken for granted. I accepted being dismissed. I accepted being seen as an obligation rather than a blessing. She walks to the window, looking out. I won't accept that anymore. Not from Catherine, not from anyone. And if my story helps even one mother realize that she deserves better than scraps of affection and duty visits, then sharing it will have been worth it. She turns back to camera before I go. I want to thank all of you who've followed this story, who've shared your own experiences, who've had the courage to make changes in your own lives. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to stay updated on more stories like this one. Real stories about real people who've found the courage to choose themselves. Asterisk, asterisk. Margaret returns to her chair. Asterisk, asterisk. The last thing I want to say is this. Love isn't about accepting everything. Real love, the kind worth having, requires mutual respect, genuine affection, and consistent care. Someone in your life, family or otherwise, can't offer you those things. Then maybe it's time to consider whether they deserve a place in your heart. Asterisk, asterisk. She looks directly at camera one final time. Asterisk, asterisk. I'm Margaret Eleanor Hartwell, and I chose myself. It took me 68 years to do it, but I finally chose myself. And you know what? I've never felt stronger. She smiles, a mixture of sadness and strength. Thank you for listening. Thank you for understanding. And thank you for reminding me that I'm not alone in this journey. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is walk away from the people who don't value us, especially when they're family. Final pause if my story resonates with you. If it's helped you in any way, I hope you'll share it with others who might need to hear it. And remember, it's never too late to choose yourself. It's never too late to demand respect. It's never too late to say enough.